Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you had a wonderful long holiday weekend. It wasn't the best weather, but I hope you got outside, maybe had a barbecue and had some fun. So we did not have video or emails yesterday, so I'm going to do Monday's work and Tuesday's work all together. So let's get moving. We got a lot of stuff to get through today, and we're starting a new unit on ocean life, which is super fun and interesting. So let's start by grabbing our prayer from heaven and saying, "Give us, Father, every day work to do and time to play. Help us to be kind and good and act like your children should. Amen." Nice. Let's do our flag salute. Put your right hand on your heart and say, "I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all." And now we'll sing God Bless America. Do the hand motions. 1, 2, 3. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Very good. If you have a calendar and your weather chart at home, do those today too. Today, I have to look at the date. Today is Monday, May 25th. Can you believe the school year's almost over? Friday's our last day. I can't believe where everything went. So let's get moving. Now, yesterday, I wanted you to review your numbers because we learned to do all our numbers from 1 to 20. That's wonderful. And now I just want you to review them. Remember, reviewing is just a practice, and I hope that you will do this all summer long so that you don't forget. Summer's a long, long time until we get back to school, and all the hard work we did this year and through our videos, I don't want you to forget it and get back to school and go, "How do you make a number 2? How many is 10? I don't know my letters." So I want you to practice that stuff over the summer vacation. So you can do it just the way we do it here. You can have mom and dad write down the numbers and the letters for you, and you just trace over them the way we do our rainbow. Say the number, count things out. So we call that one-to-one correspondence in teacher talk. But just count things out. So if we're talking about the number 4, you can just count out 4 fingers or 4 spoons or 4 of anything. Practice that all summer. It's a fun game. You can make a fun game. So these are the numbers we're going to review from yesterday. So it's 1, super easy, top to bottom. 2, this is a little harder, around, in, and back out. Again, start at the top, go around, in, and back out. 2. Here's the number 3. Ready? Around the corner, back out and around. Start at the top, go around the corner, back out and around. Very good. And number 4, it's sort of like the letter L with a line. Again, an L with a line. So those are in your number review packet. That's another packet that mom and dad have to pull out of the things that were mailed home to you. So do that. And then that was yesterday's work. Unless you did it yesterday, then good for you if you did it. If not, if you took the day off like I did, then do it today. It's not a lot. And remember, when we're doing reviews, you only have to do it 3 times. You don't have to do it 5 times like we did when we were learning it. And then the numbers for today are 5, 6, 7, and 8. So let's do this one. Top, down, around the corner, and put a top on it. Top, down, around the corner, put a top on it. Number 5. Let's go to number 6. 6 is fun. It's a swirly number. Whoop. Start at the top and go whoop. Number 6. Here's number 7. Across and down. Some people like to put this little line here. If you do, you go up, across, and down. Up, across, and down. Number 7, that is. And the last one for today is number 8. To me, looks like a snowman. You can do 2 circles. Oh, I didn't do that very good on the line. 2 circles. And that's the number 8. So do that review and try to count out you don't have to even do them all. Just count out some of them. And so you remember how to count, do one-to-one correspondence, and you really see how big a number is by seeing how many it is, not just the number in our head. Now also for yesterday, we're doing our continuing with our letter review, our rainbow letter review. And so again, you only have to do these 3 times each, and you'll continue with the packet that you started last week. And now we're up to, for yesterday, the letter P, top to bottom and around. Whose name starts with P? Who? Penny, that's right. Top to bottom, go back to the top, go around. The next letter is Q. Q is easy and kind of fun. It's just a big circle like the letter O, but then kick a leg out. Excuse me, boys and girls. Again, make a circle and kick the leg out. And now the next letter for today is the letter R. R says R for Ryan. Let's go over the sounds. First of all, P is P, P, P. Q is always followed by that letter U. Remember, I used to tell you I used to get mad at Q because Q couldn't go out alone. I always had to hold U's hand. So Q says qu, qu, like quail and quack. And here we are back to R. R says R, like Ryan and red. I should have brought my water with me. So R, top to bottom. Go back to the top, go around, and give it a leg to kick out. It's very much like the P, except it has a leg kicking out. Top to bottom, go around, and kick out that leg. So do those. That was yesterday's work. If you did it, great. If you didn't do it today. And now for Tuesday's work, we have S, T, and U. So let's start with the S. S says like a snake. It also was the first letter in someone's name in our class. Do you remember who? Sean. Very good. Although it doesn't make the S sound in his name. Sometimes names are like that, but it's still the same letter. So let's make a squiggly snake for the letter S. A squiggly snake. Very good. Do that 3 times. The next letter, T. T. I know Otto has 2 T's in his name, but his name doesn't start with T. Easy one. Top to bottom and across. Top to bottom and across. T says t, 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 top, tiger. Very good. The last one for today is the letter U. Another fun one. Down and whoop it back up. Ready? Go to the top, down and whoop it back up. The letter U. U says, like umbrella. Underwear. So very good. So I want you to do that today. Remember, we're going to redo our number review for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Going to review those. And then you're going to review your letters P, Q, R, S, T, and U. It's a lot of work today. So get out your crayons and start working on that. And the next thing we're going to do today, I'm trying to do both your things from yesterday and today. Oh, yesterday I want you to still practice writing your name. If you don't need to use your rainbow names anymore, do it on your own. Remember to always use a uppercase letter or a capital letter in the beginning, followed by lowercase letters, okay? That's important to remember. And if you can do your last name, really great. We got all summer to practice. And again, I want you to practice, practice, practice over the summer. Even if you just do it 1 time a day, that will be great practice. Yesterday, we started talking about the ocean. We would have started talking about the ocean. And one of the things that a suggestion I put in the notes for your parents is to make an ocean in your kitchen sink. And I used to do that for my kids on a rainy day when we couldn't go outside. We'd fill the sink with water. I'd put some blue food coloring in and maybe some glitter, because everything's better with glitter. And then they had little plastic fish, or you could even put some rocks in, because there's some rocks in the bottom of the ocean. And I pulled a chair up and I'd let them sit there and play with that water. So if you didn't do that yesterday and you want to do today, you could even do that if you have like a kiddie pool out in your backyard. It would be fun to do that too, because you could even swim in there with it. It's just food coloring. You could get in there and swim in the ocean with your little plastic fish. So that would be really fun. I also, let me just checking our notes. We go through everything. Also today, practice your counting too. Counting's good. Count them from 1 to 20. And if you want to do count backwards from 20 down to 1, sing your ABC song, A, B, C, D, that one. So just all those things are practice, because you know, when you learn something, you learn it with your ears and your eyes and your hands, and you say it. You're using your voice, and you learn it so much better. So that's why I try to give you lots of different ways to learn something, to count things out, to write it down, to say them and jump and count back down to 0, and to sing your ABC song. So lots of fun things to do with letters and numbers, but it helps you to learn. Now I have a couple of books that I wanted to read you today about the ocean. Let's look at our globe. Now, you know that we live in the orange part. There's the Statue of Liberty. That's us. And that's North America, Canada, South America, Africa. This is all Europe. This is Asia. We have Australia down here, and then we're back to us. But what's all this blue stuff? What is all this blue stuff around the continents, around the land? That's ocean. Ocean covers look at that, how much of the world is just covered by ocean. An awful, awful lot. So I'm going to turn the globes like this so we can see a lot of ocean there. So there's many oceans. In fact, I'll show you. The one we swim in, that's called the Atlantic Ocean. When you go to the beach by us. And then over in Hawaii and on the other side of our country, they swim in the Pacific Ocean. And then over here by Africa, it's the Indian Ocean. So there's lots over here. This is at the top of the world, the Arctic Ocean. So there's so many oceans in the world, but they're all connected. They all connect somewhere. So what lives in oceans? So many things, not just fish. There are mammals. We are mammals because we have warm blood and we don't lay eggs. So we are mammals. But there's mammals that live in the ocean, like a whale is a mammal. A whale's not a fish. And there's other things like octopuses. They're not fish either. There are all kinds of life that lives in the ocean. Some of the life in the ocean even looks like plants. They kind of are plants, but they're living creatures. And they live under the ocean. So there's so many movies and TV shows on right now on oceans. Big Blue Planet, I think it's called. Mom and Dad can find you one on demand on your TV, and you can watch about some beautiful and interesting things about the oceans. So I have a couple of books here, really fun books for this learning about oceans. This one's called Under the Sea. So it's really, really fun. This used to belong to my oldest boy, Ryan, you know, Coach R, that he sent us some videos. This was his when he was little. So it's about these kids, and they go live under the ocean with their uncle, their aunt and uncle, who are scientists and live under the ocean in a sea lab. So it's really cool. What's a lab? A lab is a short for laboratory. It's a place where you do science experiments. I'll bring this book closer because it's so fun to see. Judy and Ben left the seaplane and looked around for Aunt Vi. They were going to spend the whole day with Aunt Vi and Uncle Ted in their underwater lab called Shell House. Aunt Vi was waiting for them in the mini submarine. They all got in and descended to the ocean floor. So let's look over here. This is called a seaplane, and a regular airplane has wheels. This has, they call them pontoons that float. So it doesn't need land to land on or ground to land on. It can land right on the water and take off from the water again. Pretty cool, right? And here is the mini sub that they are going to go down, down, down to the bottom of the sea. Welcome aboard, called Uncle Ted when they arrived at Shell House. Uncle Ted was fixing lunch in the galley. The word galley is what you call a kitchen on a boat. Welcome aboard, echoed Pierre, the big green parrot. There he is. Isn't that funny? A bird living under the ocean. After a tasty meal of hamburgers and seaweed salad, Judy and Ben fed cookie crumbs to Peter, the pet pilot fish. Judy laughed. He likes people food, she said. Pilot fish do, said Aunt Vi. Sometimes they follow ships just for food scraps. So maybe that's like the squirrels of the sea. They'll always eat, and raccoons eat our garbage. That's what these pilot fish do. And they swim right after boats. They've learned that if they follow a boat, they'll get some food. Uncle Ted took Ben and Judy underwater sightseeing in the mini sub. They visited a coral reef. A hungry parrotfish was chewing off chunks of coral, while inside the reef, nighttime fish slept. A small clownfish had the softest bed yet, snoozing in the velvety petals of the sea anemone. 3 young angelfish were eating tiny parasites off the back of a surgeonfish. So let's see if we can find all those fish. I'm looking for the clownfish. You know what that clownfish looks like. That's Nemo. Do you see it, Brooke?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
I'm missing
in the corner. Over here. There, she's right. There's Nemo. That's a clownfish. And these are the angelfish. And that's the surgeonfish. This is a sea anemone. It looks like grass, but it's actually a plant. That's the parrotfish. What's this? A dolphin. Wow, that's so cool. Farther down, Ben and Judy met some odd bottom dwellers. A bottom dweller is an animal a fish or an animal that just lives on the bottom of the ocean. It doesn't really like to swim around much, just likes to lay on the floor. A sea robin walked by using its large fins as feet. Let's see if I can find him. Here he is. Can you see? Zoom in on that, Brooke. So his fins, he walks on them like they're feet, but they're really fins. As the children watched, a fluke quickly changed color to match its background. This camouflage completely fooled the barn door skate chasing it. The larger fish swam right over the fluke. So if you look here, can you see this fish that's laying on its side? And it changes like the way a chameleon changes colors. It changes its colors to blend in with, in this case, some rocks. And this is the barn door skate that would have eaten it, but didn't see it, swam right over it. Now, I read somewhere that when these flukes are born, they have one eye on each side of their head, like other fish. But slowly over time, the one eye migrates to the other side, so they end up with 2 eyes on one side. So when they lay down, both of their eyes are on one side. That's what I read somewhere. Pretty cool, huh? But they just like lay on the ground all the time. Seems lazy. I'd call it the lazy fish. Suddenly, a torpedo ray bumped into the side of the sub. Uncle Ted told them that 2 electric cells in its head were powerful enough to stun a human. So here it is. That's another way animals have of protecting themselves. Certainly big teeth would be a way. Camouflage would be a way. And this fish has 2 points in its head that it can bump into a fish and stun it. And it can protect itself, or that's how it stuns its food and then it can eat it. God has made some very interesting animals under the sea. Soon they came to the wreck of a sailing ship. Uncle Ted had explored it in his scuba gear. We'd hoped that it was Captain Kidd's pirate ship, he said. Did you find any treasure? Asked Ben. No treasure, said Uncle Ted, just empty molasses kegs. Then suddenly he pointed, look, a stowaway. An octopus uncoiled itself from the keg to look for a crab dinner. So if you can look right down here where my finger's pointing, that's an octopus. An octopus isn't a fish. It's another name for it, but it lives under the ocean. And they are supposed to be very, very smart and very flexible. They squeeze into very small places. As Judy peered into the shadows of the wreck, she saw mysterious flickering lights. It looks as though there are ghosts in there, she said. Uncle Ted showed Judy that her ghostly lights came from tiny lanternfish whose sides glowed in the dark as they swam. So these little white dots, those are the sides of the lanternfish. And as they swim, it lights up. That's called Bioluminescence. Can you say that? Let's try it together. Bioluminescence. That means that these animals can glow like a firefly, can glow in the dark. So can some fish. Bioluminescence. Pretty cool. Big scientific word you just learned. Suddenly, thwack! Something hit the rear plexiglass window with a powerful blow. The submarine lurched violently. There, outside the window, waved the mighty tail of a 15-foot thresher shark. The shark was annoyed to find the sub between it and its fish dinner, so I guess the shark wanted to eat these fish, and the sub was in the way. So look at that long tail. There are many, many, many kinds of sharks. Sharks are super interesting. They have been around for a long time. And I think people are fascinated by sharks because they get to be so big and they have those big, big teeth. So they are very interesting. Uncle Ted quickly steered away from the 800-pound shark, wow, and brought the sub safely back to Shell House. I hope the window isn't cracked, said Uncle Ted, looking worried. I'll have to make sure it's watertight or we can't use the sub. Uh-oh. And you can see the Shell House from here. I don't know if I'd want to live underwater. I think I might be scared, but it is a cool thing. While Uncle Ted examined the window, Aunt Vi introduced Judy and Ben to the sea creatures in the Shell House aquarium. There they are. Aunt Vi showed Judy and Ben how to get information on all the different underwater creatures from the computer. From his perch above them, Pierre repeated after her, sea star, sea horse, butterfly fish. Aunt Vi made computer printouts for Ben and Judy to take home. Judy and Ben were almost disappointed to hear that the sub was okay, and Aunt Vi could take them to their 5 o'clock seaplane. It would have been fun to stay overnight in Shell House. Since there wasn't enough room in the sub, Uncle Ted came up in his wetsuit and scuba gear. What's he got in his hand? I'll bet this is the first underwater pet carrier you've seen, Uncle Ted said with a laugh as he unsnapped the lid of a big pressure cooker. Welcome aboard, piped a familiar voice, and he hopped out. It was Pierre. He was going to the vet to have his claws and beak trimmed. So he put Pierre in this, a pressure cooker seals real tight so no water can get in. And that's what he put the bird in to bring him up. That's kind of silly. There was time for a quick swim. Lots of curious angelfish and butterfly fish came to see Judy and Ben. At the sound of the plane's engines, Judy and Ben swam to the dock for their flight home. What a wonderful visit it had been. Back at home, Judy and Ben looked at their aquarium. In it were many of the sea creatures that they had seen at Shell House. Now they could identify them all. That night, Judy and Ben fell asleep in the soft glow of the aquarium's light to dream of more wonderful adventures under the sea. So if we look at this page here, we'll see some of the sea creatures that we learned about. This is an octopus, a seahorse, a butterfly fish, a torpedo ray, that's one with the electricity in its head, lanternfish, that's the ones that light up, a thresher shark, a sea cucumber, a sea urchin, and a sea star. There are so many different animals that live under the ocean that scientists don't even know all of them. They're still learning about new ones all the time. Now, part of your assignment for today, first of all, you can watch Mrs. Rigo's video. She's going to teach you how to make a whale. Now, a whale lives in the ocean, but it's not a fish. Whales are not fish. They breathe air like we do. So another thing I wanted you to do yesterday, I wanted you to draw a beautiful fish. And let me read you a book about a beautiful fish. You probably know this one. You might have it. It's called The Rainbow Fish. And it teaches us a lesson, a very important lesson about sharing. So let's read about the rainbow fish. Can you see the sparkles on that rainbow fish if I move the paper? A long way out in the deep blue sea, there lived a fish. Not just an ordinary fish, but the most beautiful fish in the entire ocean. His scales were every shade of blue and green and purple, and with sparkling silver scales among them. Can you see that, how they sparkle? Certainly is a beautiful fish. The other fish were amazed at his beauty. They called him Rainbow Fish. Come on, Rainbow Fish, they would call. Come and play with us. But the Rainbow Fish would just glide past, proud and silent, letting his scales shimmer. So they just wanted to play. He didn't really want to play. I guess he thought he was special. One day, a little blue fish followed after him. Rainbow Fish, he called, wait for me. Please give me one of your shiny scales. They're so wonderful, and you have so many. Well, what do you think? You want me to give you one of my special scales? Who do you think you are? Cried the Rainbow Fish. Get away from me. Oh, that's fresh. Oh, I don't like that. Shocked, the little blue fish swam away. He was so upset. He told all his friends what happened. And from then on, no one would have anything to do with Rainbow Fish. They turned when he swam away. Well, that's what happens when you're mean, right? You don't have friends. He still has many beautiful scales, but he's really not very beautiful on the inside. What good were the dazzling, shimmering scales with no one to admire them? Now he was the loneliest fish in the entire ocean. One day he poured out his troubles to the starfish. I really am beautiful. Why doesn't anyone like me? I can't answer that for you, said the starfish. But if you go beyond the coral reef to a deep cave, you will find the wise octopus. Maybe she can help you. The Rainbow Fish found the cave. It was very dark inside. He couldn't see anything. Then suddenly 2 eyes caught him in their glare, and the octopus emerged from the dark. Can you see the octopus in the dark there, coming out? I told you they were smart. I have been waiting for you, said the octopus with a deep voice. The waves have told me your story, and this is my advice. Give a glittering scale to each of the other fish. You will no longer be the most beautiful fish in the sea, but you will discover how to be happy. Oh, that's tough. Give away his most prized possession? That's pretty tough. I can't, the Rainbow Fish started to say, but the octopus had already disappeared into a dark cloud of ink. That's what octopuses do. They shoot out ink, and that's how they can get away. That's one of the defenses that God gives octopuses. Give away my scales, my beautiful shining scales? Never. How could I ever be happy without them? They are quite beautiful. Suddenly, he felt the light touch of a fin. The little blue fish was back. Rainbow Fish, please don't be angry. I just wanted one scale. The Rainbow Fish wavered. Only one very small shimmering scale, he thought. Well, maybe I won't miss just one. Carefully, the Rainbow Fish pulled out the smallest scale he could find, and he gave it to the little fish. Thank you so very much, the little blue fish bubbled playfully as he tucked the shiny scale in among his blue ones. A rather peculiar feeling came over Rainbow Fish. For a long time, he watched the little blue fish swim back and forth with his new scale glittering in the water. Well, he feels something strange. He's not sure what that is. The little blue fish whizzed through the ocean with his scale flashing, so it didn't take long before Rainbow Fish was surrounded by the other fish. Everyone wanted a glittering scale. The Rainbow Fish shared his scales left and right, and the more he gave away, the more delighted he became. And when the water around him was filled with glimmering scales, at last he felt at home among the other fish. Can you see they each have a shiny scale somewhere on them? Finally, the Rainbow Fish had only one shiny scale left. His most prized possessions had been given away, yet he was happy. "Come on, Rainbow Fish," they called. "Come and play with us." "Here I come," said Rainbow Fish, and happy as a splash, he swam off to join his friends. And there's the little fish with one. So what do you think that the rainbow fish felt? And what does that book want us to learn? I think what he felt was happiness, that he got to share something of his and he got to make other fish happy. And I think that the author of the book wants us to learn that sharing is very good. You don't have to give away everything you have, but and you don't have to give it away forever. But sharing means if you are out playing and you have a ball, and yeah, you can throw it up in the air and catch it. But if there's another child there, you can throw the ball to that child and they can throw it back to you. And that's sharing. If you have a whole box of crayons and some paper and your friend has none, you can say, "Here, have some paper and share my crayons." So you don't have to give away your things, but share them. It always brings you so much more pleasure to have someone to enjoy your activities with than to do it by yourself. So always look for a way that you can share, because sharing is caring, and sharing makes you happy in your heart. And it's what God wants us to do. So what I'd like you to do, if you didn't do that in Ocean in Your Sink, try to do that, because it's really fun, and see if you have some little plastic fish that you can put in there. And watch Mrs. Rigo's video, because she's going to teach you how to make a whale. And practice your 3 times each. You review rainbow letters, you review rainbow numbers. And I will see you back here tomorrow, and we'll learn more about oceans. Bye.